All right, folks, listen, we've got a few minutes left, so we do this show live, and as such, we have a live chat board going, and you guys have been firing in some questions, so we're going to take a couple of them with the few remaining minutes we've got left. The first one comes from James Clark Jr., who writes in the chat board, what's your favorite video game that will never be made into a movie? P.S. There will be an Aquaman movie and Buckaroo Banzai sequel long before Nintendo's Metroid. A video game movie that will never actually happen, Q*bert. Now, we've seen Q*bert, and I remember for a very long time, I thought Q*bert was a property because of the way it is. And I believe there was a cartoon show in the late 80s, early 90s of Q*bert, if I'm not mistaken. And I always thought that could make a motion picture. Now, granted, Q*bert appears in Wreck-It Ralph, but so does everybody. But I've now to the point that I don't think that we're ever going to see a Q*bert movie, unfortunately. What do you got? You guys have any video games that you love that you just know will never be a movie?
Mortal Kombat! The reboot.
It's been a movie.
I know, but it needs to be remade.
And a TV series, a web series, a movie.
Rebooted, you guys. The first time wasn't that great. I have a sentimental place in my heart for it, but I really was looking forward to that reboot, and the director dropping out and changing plans really disappointed me because he did such a good job with the Machinima series. But we'll see what happens. I'm still kind of waiting. I'm waiting.
You know what? I'll play the bad guy. I'll be bad cop. Here, I'm putting on my bad cop hat.
All right.
I see it.
That Mortal Kombat web series sucked.
I liked it.
It's better than anything I could have made. For a web series, it was great. But by movie standards, it was terrible. And I'm not surprised at all that it didn't get picked up. Because I loved the first Mortal Kombat movie. It's terrible.
Get over here.
Oh my God, it's awful. But it was
better
so
than
much
Double Dragon,
fun.
I'll say that.
Reptile. I'm still holding my breath for a Halo movie, a Portal movie, Mass Effect. There's all these amazing gaming properties, and I think you nailed it in our last question. If World of Warcraft and all these other adaptations, Assassin's Creed, I'm really looking forward to that one too.
Assassin's Creed's the other one, yeah,
if
good
those
point.
are successful, I think that we're going to start dipping into the other amazing narratives in these games that lend themselves really well. But if they're not successful, I think they're going to,
Well, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Bit.
Okay, so you get a movie, you get properties like Assassin's Creed and World of Warcraft. I believe more that you could throw BioShock in there too, but I believe more than any other video game property that narrative-wise, these two franchises are set up to succeed as movies. So here's a double-edged sword. You have your greatest chance for success with these two. The other side of that coin, though, is if these fail, these were your best chances of success. And if these fail, where do you go from there? So for many reasons, we got to have our fingers crossed.
All right, this is where you go.
Simon
Zach,
Kimber.
Zach's on the movie.
Zach's on.
Zach's on the movie. And then this one will never happen. I would love it. Sinistar, the movie. I'm alive! The whole movie theater shaking in D-Box.
All right, we got time for a couple more. Let's go through these. Joe Brunston asks, John, why are some movies released with different titles? The Rundown was released here in Ireland as Welcome to the Jungle, for example. Why? I believe also like Captain America was released with a different title.
There's the First Avenger, I think it was.
Yeah, it was just called The First Avenger.
And Spider-Man. Overseas, the next one, they were talking about Electro. I forget, The Rise of Electro or something.
Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of movies have, I think it's just whatever. Look, marketing is a very weird, twisted, nerdy science and art in many ways. That, you know, what title, personally, I don't think a title means crap. I really don't. We've seen some of the stupidest titles for movies ever, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't affect how good or bad the movie is. Although I do believe John Carter was probably the worst titling decision for a movie ever.
The worst poster for a
Oh
movie
my gosh,
ever.
such a bad title for that
a good
movie because it misled people as to what it might be about. That being said, marketers will take very seriously if they think they can make $8.47 more in Ireland by calling Captain America just the First Avenger, then they will name it that in that title or in that property. And it seems kind of dumb, but if it's going to make them more money at the end of the day and it doesn't really affect the movie-going experience whatsoever, I don't really have a problem with it. You guys have anything to add to that?
I remember I was in Brazil and I remember seeing the box cover for Dune and it was called like The Desert Love, and I was like,
The Desert
what?
Love?
In Portuguese. I was like, what? And then I was just going through all these different movies. They were all called different things. And
It spiked your interest, didn't it?
yeah, I was like, it's very strange.
All right. Callie the Crazy writes, with the success of Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, and now Frozen, would you say Disney is entering into a second renaissance, or is it still too early to tell? Well, if it is, you'd have to call this its third great
Oh, yeah.
animation age, because you're talking about the classic animation age,
Yeah.
then you get into the age of Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and and Lion King and those classics. This would be that third age, and I'll say yes. For a long time, I thought Disney animation was just done. It's now all Pixar, but you're right. Tangled was
I loved Tangled.
delightful. I
Loved it.
loved Tangled. Wreck-It Ralph was just flat out awesome.
One of the best. That
was amazing.
Frozen it's one of my biggest pleasant surprise movies of the year. I still get on YouTube and watch that Let It Go song.
It's great.
It's just great. I get chills up on my spine. I think it's amazing. So, could they be entering into another Renaissance period? Remember, now they're under the direction of John Lasseter, who was the head of Pixar. And he seems to be doing all the right things with Disney animation. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I'm now at a point that I'm looking forward to the next Disney animated film as much as I am to the next Pixar animated film. And I never thought I would have said that again. What do you guys think?
I completely agree. I mean, Finding Dory, I'm really excited about that. I'm still waiting for
that's Pixar.
I'm just saying the whole
Right.
family. Like, I feel like Disney was kind of behind Pixar, and Pixar was making really good films. And then Pixar just started doing the sequels a lot, and a lot of the times they kind of fell a little flat. But Finding Dory, I am really excited about. Frozen, Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, phenomenal. And they
Yeah.
speak to all generations, adults and kids. So I really think that they're on to something, and the momentum is going to keep building. And Frozen was #1 for how many weeks? It was just
Yeah.
unbelievable how much money these films make. So I do think that they're just really into a formula right now that's working, and I've been just enjoying these films and a lot of great new music, which you know is my thing.
Here's a little interesting bit of trivia. Frozen became the first film in history in its 5th week to climb back to #1. Wow. There are other films that have got back up to #1 and stayed there longer, but Frozen was the first film, I believe, in box office recorded history that in its 5th week out, it climbed back into the #1 spot.
Incredible.
And it's still riding a pretty huge wave.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.